Hey guys, another episode of 410 Sports Talk. Really excited to be here with our friends of the show. Of course, I'm James Haskell. My co-host, as always, Glenn Martin. But we also have hands-picked, the brothers, local draft experts, Danny and Craig, on the show again. And what we're going to do today, based on the feedback that we've gotten from you guys, is dig into our mocks, let them give their grades, and then they're going to provide us, based on their expertise and insight, their mocks for your Baltimore Ravens. So we're going to start with my co-host, Glenn Martin. We're going to put his mock on the table, and we're going to let Hands Picked give us a grade. Tell us where it's good. Tell us where it's bad. All your thoughts. First pick, Glenn, who is your number one pick?
All right, my number one pick was Mr. Kenneth Murray, linebacker out of Oklahoma. What do you? All
right, Craig, what are you saying?
Kenneth Murray, second favorite linebacker before the Ravens. He's my favorite of the whole draft. Glenn, I got to give you an A, man. I think if he fell to here, it would be great for us. I think he solidifies it. And I think after him and Queen, not including Simmons because he's a freak and he does everything, but Queen and Murray after that, it's pretty decent drop-off. There's a few more good ones, but I think you got a star linebacker.
All right, Danny.
Yeah, Murray was my top-rated linebacker after Isaiah Simmons. I have an A+ for this one. If he's there and we take him, I don't think there's anything to complain about.
All right, guys, I don't know if Glenn's paying you or what the deal is here, but
hold on. Let's flip it then. Let's go to your mock, okay? Since we're sticking in the first round,
All right. I'm taking Cesar Ruiz out of inside linebacker. Interior lineman. I'm taking him and I'm plugging him in at center. He's a Michigan guy. He's a hardball guy. He's tough. He's tenacious. He's good off the whistle, can play in a multitude of blocking schemes, like his game. Remember, we're picking at 28, so the realistic possibility of him being there, I believe, is also very high.
That's a shot at me. All right.
Ruiz, I think so far what I've seen, I think he's the best guard. Getting him there is a little bit early. I think he's more of a day two guy, but in this draft, there's no star guard. So if you can get one towards the end of the draft, I'm okay with that. I would give it a B. I wouldn't be upset. Probably a super safe pick. Very strong guy. That's how I feel about Ruiz.
Danny?
Yeah, I have a B+ for it. Ruiz, solid, fills a need. I have him as the second best interior lineman in this class so far. There's not really anything you can complain about. It's a good fit.
All right. So, Glenn, who's your second pick? Right now, you're winning with an A+.
I was going to say, before we move on, let's just recap. I got an A+, and you got a B+. So I just wanted to make sure we were – yeah, right. Not bad. You did good. You just didn't do Glenn good. But we'll move on from there. All right, so my second-round pick out of LSU, offensive lineman Lloyd Cushenberry. Danny, give me your thoughts.
Yeah, so Cushenberry at this spot I think would be a good value pick. He's a very solid blocker. My only concern with him is that he's not as agile, not as athletic as I think you would like for what the Ravens are doing and how they're using their offensive linemen. So I have it down as a B+ because it's a good fit. It's just not the exact type of lineman as you want, and that's a pretty high pick to take him.
All right, Jimmy. I'm sorry. I'm on Team Glenn. Cushenberry, super smart, team leader, led the line, very good guard. He's one of the top three. A lot of people argue that he's the second best. He's not really a power guard. Ruiz really shows a ton of power, and Ruiz is obviously better. You got him in the first round. But getting Cushenberry in the second here, he's a very good fit for zone scheme. He's got good feet under him, and he's got a very smart and awareness. He has all that. So, Glenn, I'm going to give you an A-, man. Keeping the train going, man.
Now, you mentioned guard. I was kind of thinking he could also play center, but do you both agree he'd be better at guard?
I think he could play either. My immediately thought is Yanda's going, so you're getting him to replace. But you obviously could put him in the center and had the center bump out to guard. Absolutely. I think he could do either because he's smart enough to do that.
All I'm going to say, I need to vent real quick. All right?
Now he's seeing where this is going.
All I can say is that if another person dares to say that our offensive line is set, and they say that Macari and Skura are going to be 2 of our 5 starting offensive linemen, I'm going to take their Ravens card. Okay? All right? No, I don't want to hear it anymore. Okay? I don't want Macari and Skura in my starting offensive line at the same time.
Right. Macari brings depth, and that's about it. I don't want him as a starter. I want him as a backup, but that's it. Okay? All right. So who was your second pick? Who was your second?
Pittman. Michael Pittman out of USC. My second pick.
You seem angry.
No, I'm good. I'm excited about Pittman. I am angry because he dropped 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 10 receptions on my Utes with 4 20-plus yard receptions in that game. And we were a top 5 defense.
Pittman's good, man. I really do like Pittman. Huge receiver. Ran a 4.5, pretty good speed. I didn't think he was that fast, but, I mean, his routes look good for how big he is. Contested catches are awesome. He'd be an awesome red zone threat. And, Jimmy, I really think that your draft is becoming more possible because I feel like right now Ruiz is very possible that you're not reaching on someone that may fall. That's very possible. I think Michael Pittman here is very possible. For me, I think I have him at number 10, and then right after him, there's like one more receiver and then a pretty decent drop-off. So to get a quality receiver here, I think is a very smart option before the cliff happens.
All right. So what's your grade, Craig?
My grade would be I'm gonna go B+. Okay.
All right.
I think it's a very solid, realistic pick.
It's a solid 88%. You know what? You ride the curve, and you're getting an 8, baby.
87.
Hey, as long as I'm within the top 20 percentile, I'm good. Okay, Danny, what do you got?
So Pittman, I actually have him as my 11th receiver. I think there's a couple guys that should go ahead of him this early. But I like Pittman as a receiver. He's great quick routes. His ability to just stop on a dime is insane. He's got solid hands. He's the guy that we could plug in and he could get 50 catches, 500-600 yards. So I have it as a B. I think it's a solid pick.
All right, Glenn. Who is your?
Well, if you guys had 55 for Pittman as a B, then if I'm projecting we're getting him at 60, it must at least be a B, right?
So yeah, I mean, 55 to 60 is only 5 picks. I can see him being at both. So I got to just give you a B+. Same thing I said for him before, honestly.
Jeez.
All right. You agree, Danny?
Yeah, if he's able to fall that far, I'd go up to a B+ from a B because it's later, it's better value.
All right, Glenn, who you got next?
All right, so with the 92nd pick, I took Raekwon Davis out of Alabama, interior defensive lineman. What do you guys think on him?
For Raekwon Davis, getting him in the 3rd round, that's a spot that I think it's really underestimated. A lot of people see that, we got Calais Campbell and we have Brandon Williams and stuff like that, but it's thinner than usual because we traded away Wormley and we got rid of some other guys. So I think it's a very smart spot to get him. I think it's about where he should go. I'll give it a B. It's a solid pick through and through.
Danny?
So I was just about to write down a B, and then I remembered we have Calais Campbell now, we have Derek Wolfe, we have Brandon Williams, and he's going to be a good rotation piece, but I feel like the 3rd round, our first 3rd round pick, that's a little too early for a rotation guy.
Hold on. Are we talking about Raekwon Davis?
Yeah.
I have him as your number 92, which is your 4th round pick.
No, it's
sorry, yeah. That's who we were talking about, right?
But then we skipped Jimmy's 3rd round pick of Malik Harrison.
Oh, we did jump past you, Jimbo. Sorry about that, Jimbo.
I was so excited with all his A's and B pluses.
I was getting antsy, you know. So all right, well we'll go back to Malik, but if it was at 92, Danny, how's your thoughts there?
I have it down as a B- because he is a rotation piece, and that's early for a rotation piece to me. But
Glenn, I'm with you because we get Wormley. We always get our D tackles in the 3rd and 4th round. And they always end up doing well, and we always get comp picks back for them. So I think that's a perfect spot for them. Thanks.
And you look at Calais and Derek Wolfe; they're certainly, they're a little long in the tooth and more towards the end of their career. So I'm also looking a little bit ahead of time. So Jimmy, why don't you let us know who? Since I skipped you, who'd you had at? What was that? 60?
Yes.
Yeah, Malik Harrison, Ohio State. I think he, in a previous video, was grilled by one of these gentlemen. But that's all right. I like the kid. I think he can be a plug-and-play type guy, so tell us what you think. Danny, why don't we start with you?
All right. So Harrison, it's not my favorite fit. I do think he has high potential. I do think the Ravens would be a good team for him because they could coach him up, and he has the abilities you can't coach. He's missing the stuff you can coach. So not my favorite pick, not a bad pick. I wouldn't be upset. I'm giving it a straight B. I think it's all right.
I'll take an 84.
For me, I've said this in other videos, 3-4. We have LJ4. We have the roamer. We really need someone who can just power through the center and shed blocks and really do a great job of stuffing the hole. That's what Malik Harrison brings. 73rd percentile on adjusted spark. Doesn't have true sideline to sideline speed, so his range is a little bit down. But he's a hammer. He he sheds blocks. Very, very strong at the point of attack, and he's perfect for that strong middle linebacker we need. At 60, I think that's a good spot for him. So I think he's one of the better of the second-tier middle linebackers for us. So I'm going to give it an A-.
An A-. Woo!
Right. Okay. All right. Well, since I jumped ahead, why don't you tell us who you got at 92, Jimmy?
Jeremy Chin, the safety, the athletic freak, in my opinion, who is very big and is a project, but has a lot of potential based on his size, athletic ability. Small school kid, but we've done well with small school guys as I'm pitching my pick here.
You don't need to pitch. I'm telling you right now, Chin is a phenomenal athlete. He's like in the 98th percentile of athletes for safeties. He's a freak. My only thing is your draft was very realistic until now. I'm going to say if he gets past the second, I would trade the rest of the draft for this guy because he's that much of a stud. Daniel Jeremiah talked about him saying he might be the first safety off the board. He wasn't. This has to do with the media because the media and the scouts haven't been talking as much. So media is very all over the place because I've seen Chin in the 7th round, but there's no way he shouldn't get past the second. If he's here in the 3rd, Jimmy, you get an A+ because this knocks it out of the park because Earl Thomas is getting older. We have a safety in the other spot, but having a stud like this behind him that can also go in and play different spots for us, like coverage linebacker because he's so freakishly athletic, A+.
Nice.
Dang. Well, you know what? That's kind of cheating. I mean, that'd be like me saying Isaiah Simmons now. I mean, of course I'm going to get an A+.
You get an A+.
But wait a second, though. Neither of them said that Murray would be there at 28.
Is that true? Is that Hey, look. I think there's I know we may not discuss this, but I think there's a very real chance that they could trade up into the early 20s to get Murray. But I understand that was not the idea of the mock draft. But so we'll move on. But let me ask you, Danny, starting with you.
Wait a second, Glenn. You didn't get Danny a chance to talk about my guy.
Oh, did it? Man, I'm jumping the gun, man.
Glenn just likes Raekwon Davis so much. He just wants to keep talking about him. He skipped you twice over Malik Harrison.
Dang. All right, go ahead, Danny. Let them know your thoughts on Chin. See if you agree with Craig.
All right. I wasn't sure on the projection because I know Daniel Jeremiah said that, but I wasn't sure. I just checked DraftWire, and they said 3 to 4, so I guess it's a possibility. I think Chin is a steal there too. He's a freak athlete. Earl Thomas and Chuck Clark, he'd be fitted perfectly. He'd get coached up. He'd know how NFL works before he even had to start. If he's there, that's an A+.
Glenn, I'll say this. I'll give you some credit. If this pick comes to fruition, you sold me on the idea of needing a safety, with some serious draft equity. So you get a little bit of credit there.
Oh, well, thank you, Jim. You're all right guy. You're a stand-up fella. Well, did we talk much about Raekwon, or did we put the kibosh on that?
Yeah, we kind of did.
Okay.
I gave you a grade because I said D lineman, B, and then Danny kind of said he was a rotational piece. So I think Danny said.
Oh yeah, Danny said B-, right?
All right. Well, we'll move on to 106 then. At 106, I had us taking Antonio Gibson, wide receiver / running back / return guy, and I just feel like he fills a lot of the holes that we need. We certainly could use an explosive return guy, as well as that guy that can do anything on offense that could really cause some matchup issues in this Greg Roman offense. So, Danny, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on Antonio Gibson?
I think if Antonio Gibson went to any school besides Memphis, he would be a high 2 pick. He's he is such a insane weapon that you don't see. I think if he got into the Ravens system, it would be a track meet. It would everyone should just go home because there would be no way to stop him and Hollywood and Lamar. If that happens, I think it's a perfect match. It's an A-. He's a freak of nature.
So for me, I really like Antonio Gibson. He's got some crazy efficiency stats that blow my mind. Something that kept popping out to me, and I just had to look it up to make sure I was right. On 77 touches through his career, 77 touches. He has 14 touchdowns. So that's an unbelievable percentage of times he's touched the ball and just scored. So he is just a jitterbug. Like, you give him the ball, and for some way, somehow, 3 people try to tackle him, and he jukes him out and just blows up field and gets a touchdown. At this spot, I think it's a good spot for him because he does need some polishing, and he wasn't a full-time player in college, and that's kind of worrisome that they didn't utilize him more. But I think here is a solid pick, A-.
Not to mention he's 220 and runs a 4.3 40.
He's 228, I believe, and he ran a 4.39.
Oh, insane! And I think we've lacked that weapon in the return game for quite some time, probably since Jacoby. And I think he could bring to that. Did you guys have a chance to look at any of his returns in college?
Yeah. Yeah, he's electrifying. You give him the ball, he's completely electrifying. Someone that's 6 foot 230, you think of someone that's like, if you think of like Ray Rice's size, I'm pretty sure Ray Rice was probably like 2 inches shorter, but the same weight. But this guy is just electrifying. He can go left to right. He's a human joystick is what they like to call him in college, when they can just go in any direction at the snap of a wrist. And he's really fun to watch. He reminds me a lot of Curtis Samuel when Curtis Samuel was in college.
Yeah.
Just like electrifying.
All right. Well,
then we got to get their mock. We got to get theirs, right?
wait a second.
What? Oh, I did it again.
Glenn, you need a nap.
I am being rude, man. I apologize, Jimbo. I don't mean it. Let's get your. Oh, what happened to Danny? Did we lose?
Nobody knows.
Oh, we lost. Okay, well, I'm sure
over
we'll
it too
jump back
much.
in. I think he's
just
going to handle my rudeness. I think that's what it was. Well, Jimmy, look, we'll get Craig's. I'm sure Danny will jump back in here, but Craig, what are your thoughts? Jimmy, let him know who you took at 106.
Look, I'm taking from my alma mater, Zach Moss, the other guy who's been known as the little beast mode. All right, 233, ran a 4.59. I think he did at the combine. 4.65. Sorry, 233, 5'10". Averaged 6 yards a touch with 235 touches. His senior year, 1,400 yards. Carried that offense. He was absolutely everything for that offense. And I think he fits our backfield and stable of backs because he can catch it, he can run it, and he can block. Period. He can do everything.
So, Jimmy, you're about to be on the hot seat because I've watched your show and I know who you like. So, having a backfield for the Ravens, most likely you're going to have 3 running backs. Who are your 3 running backs if we draft Zach Moss?
Moss. Well, my number 1 obviously is Ingram. Moss is my number 2, and Gus is my number 3. And Justice Hill is a return guy.
So you cut a 4th rounder after 1 year to keep
No,
Gus?
but you've got to figure something out there, right? You've got to figure out what you can do. But to me, I don't know. I don't know if I see it. The other thing, too, is I don't know what kind of – like, I guess if it came down to it, I think this is what you're trying to get to. If I had to have Moss or have Gus, I think that's what you're getting to because you know I'm a Gus guy.
It's a little worse because technically you're giving up a 3rd and Gus for Zach Moss. So is Zach Moss worth a 3rd and Gus Edwards?
This is what I'll say. I think that you have to feel. Oh, Danny's back.
Welcome back.
This is what I'll say is that there will be I think that Ingram. Another 16 games might be. How many more years does he have left? He's got 2 more years left on his deal, right? He's probably going to play next year, and then after that, we're probably going to either try and restructure or cut him or something. There's going to be – I don't know if he's going to play out every year that deal based on his age and attrition and things like that. All I'm saying is that my ideal world would be that it is Gus and that it is Zach in the backfield after Ingram leaves. I think we need depth back there. And we just do, based on the volume that we're going to run the ball. And Zach can do it all. He doesn't have the same limitations as Gus. So for me, as much as it hurts, if I had to give up Gus, he can't catch the dang ball.
And that's what you'd be doing. And I'm also a big Gus fan. I think they criminally underused him in the playoff game, and that led to kind of the whole downfall. My thing is Gus plus a third worth Zach Moss? If you would have asked me just Zach Moss and this was just another team, I'm like, sign me up. I love Zach Moss. I think he deserves to go here. I think he deserves to go a little higher. But I just can't see – I mean, and the thing is, I could see Harbaugh cutting Edwards to get Zach Moss, because the thing Edwards, they didn't use him is because they wouldn't pass it to him. I can't remember if his pass protection, I think it's decent because he's pretty stout, but he definitely doesn't catch the ball enough. And Zach does everything Gus does, plus a little better, plus he can catch.
Right.
But for me to say that we're going to cut Gus and give up a third for Zach Moss, that's hard for me to say. So do I love the pick? Yes. Do I love the fit? Not as much. So I'll still give you a B, because obviously there was some trust issues because we didn't use them playoff. So I'll give you a B. But
before you chime in here, Danny, we're glad you got back after your technical difficulties or your pee break. I'm not sure which one it was, but but this is my question. Do you think that, so say we bring Zach in, right, and we look to move from a guy like Justice Hill, right? Is there any trade market there? Does it make sense?
With a rookie contract, that's always a benefit that they're on this contract for a very low price. The problem is we didn't use them. So, I think the trade market would be something extremely small, like maybe a rounder. But I really think Gus would be the chopping block, because Zach is a power back that can catch. Gus is a power back that can't catch. Justice Hill is the speed back that they want to develop. So I don't see in any world where they keep Hill and not.
The only thing I would say to rebut that is, sorry, Danny. While stylistically, you're absolutely right here. The only thing is that we didn't use Justice. So while he's a speed back and he's this and he's that, he's also warming the bench.
You're right.
We're not using him. What's the point? You know what I mean? So anyway. To get off.
Let's get Danny in here. Let's see what he.
All right, Danny. What's your take? I have Zach Moss as my second pick in the third round.
All right. So Zach Moss, I like Zach Moss as a back a lot. I think he's very fluid for how big he is. I don't think he adds anything new to the Ravens offense. I think everything that we draft in him, we already have. So I don't see the benefit for the Ravens in drafting him. However, I do like him, so I'm going to give it a B just because I like the back, and we do use a big rotation.
Fair enough.
Well, how about – so if we could just recap, which I wouldn't have done had this gone differently. If we could just recap overall grades. I mean, I have written them down, but I don't know if we want to. I think we can say that mine was a little more favorable, although, Craig, I think you may have criticized maybe not as realistic.
Towards the beginning rounds, Jimmy went very realistic, and I think they're all smart picks and really help the team out. Murray, hopefully he's there, might not be. So I do like yours overall better, Glenn, but I think Jimmy really sets our needs importantly, because our biggest needs, inside line receiver, inside linebacker, and Jimmy hit him 1, 2, 3. So Jimmy's strategy is to win now. He did what he wanted. Yours is kind of, I guess yours is the exact same too. So I guess you're in a win now mode too, but I like yours better, Glenn. Sorry, Jimmy.
It's all right. I'll take it. No worries.
Danny, anything?
I think basically what Craig said, Jimmy's seem a lot more realistic than some of these picks. But no, that's basically it.
Sometimes you just got to forecast realistically, right? Not pie in the sky here, baby.
Hey, Cushenberry could go at 55. Pittman could go at 60. Murray's really the only one that I think you guys are thinking won't be there at 28.
Look, this is the only thing I'm going to say, all right, in closing here. If we don't take Zach Moss.
We're not going to take Zach Moss, man. Now, look, I'm excited about our next video because, thanks again to Danny and Craig Henzelka of Hanz Pick for coming on. I'm interested to hear your guys's, and I think so. The next video Guys, make sure you guys subscribe, hit the bell, because we're going to get their top 5 picks. We're going to get their mocks rounds 1 through 3, and we're going to grade them, okay?
Yeah.
We're going to flip the script on these guys, and we're going to put a letter grade and see who does better out of the brothers. How's that sound to you guys?
Dude, I'm getting Chase Young, number 28, and then I'm coming back to Patrick Queen.
Now it sounds like Glenn's draft. Well,
Yeah, right.
we
I'm getting
appreciate
Joe
you guys
Burrow
coming
on
on. Like Glenn
All
said,
right,
make
thank
sure to subscribe. Leave us a thumbs up. We can't say it enough. Subscribe, and subscribe. You guys watch the videos. Just freaking hit the button. All right? Have a good one. See you guys soon.